It is a Tuesday night, or should I say, early Wednesday morning, and we're live from Washington, D.C. on Twitch and Periscope and YouTube. Hey, D. Nelson. And honestly, I'm supposed to be recording this on Anchor so that I could have an audio version of this for you guys, but I don't. Because I don't know where I put the phone that I normally record it on, and my place is a wreck, even though I moved here I've had, a couple weeks here so far. Not a month yet, but a couple weeks. And I should have already had my phone ready by now, except there is a mountain of things in my room I still haven't cleaned up, and I haven't found it because it's in that pile. So until that happens, we will not be having audio recordings of this live stream. But a reason why I also have not cleaned up my room is because I am always out. And the reason why I'm always out is because it's really, really difficult for me to stay home and be by myself and clean, because all these things that I need to do, I can only do it by myself. I can't clean if I'm out with people or if people are here. I have to be home physically cleaning my room in order for my room to be clean. But I can't do it if I'm out. So why don't I just stay home and clean my things and then go out? Oh, well, the reason for that is because I just can't. Because I just get so quickly lonely so quickly if I'm by myself at home, and it just where is the bow? Someone is asking where the bow is. Check it out. I got the bow. 1 second. Let me share this YouTube link let's share this YouTube link so that everyone can watch on YouTube. We're live. Let's talk deep shit. Okay, so basically here it is. Here's my bow. You like it? I have a bow. So actually, I was looking online, okay, and I found this on Amazon. I found this pack of 24 bows, 24 hair bows, and they're all different colors, and they all look just like this. And I was thinking, what if I got that and every day I just wore a different bow? I would look like I'm 12 because they're actually made for 12-year-olds. But it would be pretty cool, wouldn't it, if I did that? I really look like I'm 12, and I'm talking as if I'm 12. I'm not 12, I'm 26, okay? I'm 26, I'm an old lady, and I look like I'm 12. Oh my god, okay. So, yeah, it's basically it. I just don't it's almost like a joke at this point about how I'm constantly feeling lonely, because literally, anyone that I talk to is yeah, I'm also feeling lonely. And it's we're all communicating, and we're all communicating, or even if we're not communicating, we're all feeling the same exact thing, and we're all aware that we're all feeling the same exact thing, but we're still feeling it. We're still oh, I'm so lonely. But even though everybody else, even though we're so even though we're so not alone. Okay. All right. So before we go on to Greenland, someone asked me about my photo shoot. So my photo shoot is actually happening next week. Okay. I'm so excited. It's going to be a real photo shoot. It's going to be my first real photo shoot. Like, I've actually had a photo shoot before, but it was kind of not, it wasn't anything. It was just like, I mean, whatever. But this is going to be my first real photo shoot. It's a professional person. I'm taking my friend. I've actually looked up his stuff. He's a real legit guy, and he does this. He basically, he's got his professional team. He's also got a like a makeup artist team. I think it's just one makeup artist person, but like the pictures I've seen are stunning. Like they're like, it's a real professional makeup. And I guess the reason why he would do it for someone like me is because I get a lot of views on my stuff, so it would kind of be like advertising. So for me, it's like, oh my god, I would totally love to do it. BW says, get out in nature, take hikes, plant a garden, take big breaks from this electronic stuff. That might be it. Maybe we're just too dependent on electronic stuff. We're too dependent on our laptops, our phones. I'm on my bed. We're too dependent on our phones and our laptops and everything else that is in social media. We're like really dependent on social media. I don't know about you. I'm really dependent on social media. Joe is asking what happened to Mopbode. Okay, so the reason why I haven't been having guests, like remote guests, is because I'm using a different software, and Prism doesn't have remote guests. Although Prism, I talked to them. They said they're working on a system that will allow you to have guests. But for now, they don't. And yes, I'm very excited to show you the photos from the photo shoot when they're done. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Mopbode's account is suspended. That's crazy. I'm gonna talk about Mopbode. Boogaloo Bob says, I never tweet anything because I'm so afraid of losing my account. That's annoying. The whole point of Twitter is that you can say whatever you want. I mean, that's the whole point, but you can't. Which is stupid. Even this video, like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna get demonetized because it has the word suicide in it, which is so annoying. But, yeah. Back to the topic of Greenland. Okay, so someone mentioned the suicide rate in Greenland is 24 times that of the United States. It's pretty high. So it's like, out of 56,000 people, I think it was last year or the year before, out of 56,000 people, which is very small, 56,000, it's like tiny town, okay? Out of just 50,000 people, like 53 of them committed suicide. That's crazy. If that was happening in the United States, like according to our population, it would be, from what I read, that would be like over 250,000 people committing suicide in 1 year. That's like the equivalent. The suicide rate in Greenland is so high that they say that everybody knows, and this is like, it's not even far-fetched, it's like literally, just like somebody who has, had depression. Everybody knows somebody who has had depression. In Greenland, everybody knows somebody who has killed themselves, which is so sad. Diacritical says that his dad spent a year there, way far up north. Suicide was an issue for Americans there too. Wow, so it's not just the Greenlanders, it's also Americans. That's really curious to me. I find that very curious. Boogaloo Bob, don't do anything to hurt yourself, because then there will be no one to make funny videos about me, and then I'll be depressed. Boogaloo Bob, you can message me whenever you feel sad. Let's see. Stew side is a real drag. Why is it so high? That's, I mean, yeah, that's really crazy. Alright. Alex says you have a purpose, Bob. More videos about Pardes. Exactly. Adam says I'm hurting myself right now and watching this video, aren't I? Pain is good for character building. Yes, it's good to suffer. It's important to suffer. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So, diacritical, I'm actually curious to see why your dad was there. He says it's long, late, dark periods, isolation, long-term cold, cabin fever, all issues that hurt mentally. So, that actually makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And this is my speculation. So the main reason that I found online, okay, that, you know, I found regarding Greenland was that this is going to be a short live stream, by the way. I'm just putting it out there. Boogaloo Bob says, my friend Donnie blew his brain out right in front of his mom a few years ago. Had no idea he was that low. Yeah, usually you can't tell. And that's the thing, like, it's not like, oh, it's a shock because you can't tell. It's like, you can't tell because those people are keeping it to themselves. And when you keep your pain and struggle to yourself, you end up hurting yourself. The people that you see that are constantly sad, those people are expressing their sadness. That's why it's important to be expressing your sadness. The people that you see who seem happy all the time, if they're feeling sad inside, they are hurting themselves. So the issue is more common in small, isolated populations. So one thing that I noticed is, a lot of these articles that I've been reading are alluding to industrialization. So in Greenland, you know, after, you know, Greenland in the 70s, 80s became more industrialized. When was the internet invented, by the way? Internet invented. Oh, wow. Same time that the internet was invented. Very interesting. So basically, in Greenland, people used to live in villages, very small. People lived in villages. That's fine. And people who live in villages tend to be fine if they are not constantly hearing about people in other villages. If it's just their village and it's just their people and that's all they need, that's like, they're fine. But then what happens is, and people are meant to be living in small villages. Like, we're not meant to be living around a million people in this constant loudness and noise. We're not meant to have a million people in our lives. We're meant to have a few people that we're just very connected to. You're not necessarily being isolated, but suddenly when you're in a world where it's not just your village anymore, it's now everything. It's now the rest of your country, so then you start to feel isolated because you're like, okay, there's so many people and they're all there and I'm here. And it feels like I'm by myself, even though you're not. You have other people around you. But when you are constantly seeing that and being made aware of it, that doesn't feel that way. And your economy starts to collapse. You can't really function on your own because, you start to become dependent on the people in the big cities, and then so you have to move to the big cities and live in these like small apartments. And that's what happened to a lot of the old Inuits in Greenland. They had to move to the big city in small apartments. And we're meant to live in communities. And I think part of it also, people in Greenland killing themselves because they're living in Greenland. Part of it is like, people are going to live in places that are sunny and warm and everything. People aren't going to live in places that are cold and freezing. So if everybody were to live in Greenland, maybe things would be a little different. If like all the people of the world, if everybody decided to go and live in Greenland, which is a huge place, then maybe it would be different. But all right, I'm just reading your comments. But there's so few people there, and they're constantly being reminded of everything because of the internet. I think the internet is a big reason why so many people are feeling isolated. And so many people are just constantly being reminded that there is another place where more people are. And where I am is not where the people are. And not only that, because that's combined with travel, easy travel, people aren't staying in the small cities. They're going to live in the big cities where the opportunities are. So what happens is people in smaller cities end up feeling alone and isolated because everyone's constantly leaving to pursue their dreams. So it's hard to keep your friends. So it's just this constant feeling of like, I need to be there. I can't be here. I need to be there. And if you don't have any money to be able to afford to be there and not here, then you're stuck. And the suicide rate seems to be highest. FOMO is a real thing. People make fun of FOMO. They're like, oh, that's not a real thing. FOMO is a real thing. I don't live in Greenland, okay? I'm actually about to have a vlog out tomorrow about what I did today, which is not interesting, but you'll see. But you'll see that I don't live in Greenland. Okay. Joe says one of the problems with LA is too many people out here wanting to live the dream. High expectations. Wanting to be in one place and being in another place. Alex says JOMO, the joy of missing out. Jesus, I'll tell you what FOMO is. FOMO is fear of missing out. Alex says on a global scale, FOMO is a fear of missing out. And, yeah. And I think it's starting to be like that everywhere. Everyone is just feeling like they're missing out on everything. Anywhere we are, we just feel like we're missing out. And even though we are so connected right now, we're talking, there's a ton of people in the comments that are communicating, not a ton, obviously, but there are people in the comments who are like communicating with each other. We're communicating. I'm communicating with people every day. People are communicating with me every day. But we still feel lonely because, we saw on Instagram that somebody had a friend over, or someone was hanging out with their girlfriend or their boyfriend or whatever, and we weren't there, and so we're just like, oh, but I should be doing that. I should be with my boyfriend right now, or my girlfriend, or something. I shouldn't be sitting here all alone by myself. I shouldn't be sitting at home by myself. Gideon says the purpose of life is to reproduce. Reproduction gives you purpose in life. Eligibility for reproduction requires you to stand out larger your community. Or otherwise, harder just to stand out. Harder to stand out, the less purpose your life feels. Purposeful. Okay, so another thing that I notice is having animals around makes you feel less lonely. I told you guys I was in a place this past year. I was in a place far from DC, surrounded by animals, lots of animals, in a huge house surrounded by lots of animals, and there was nobody there. Nobody was there. And I was just like, I should have been lonely. Like, I didn't see humans for like a week, okay? And I just stayed there. I didn't leave, okay? But oddly enough, I didn't feel lonely the whole time I was there, even though I'm always feeling lonely. Isn't that crazy that I didn't feel lonely the whole time I was there? It was because I was around a bunch of animals, and it's like, I'm still thinking about it. Why? Why do I feel not lonely when I'm around a bunch of animals? Maybe it's because I don't feel like the animals are gonna leave. The animals can't get on a plane and just leave. The animals are just gonna be there. I don't feel like the animals are having like this, you know, like as humans we want to be free and whatever, so when we can, I mean, when there's, we're not bound to anything, right? But with animals, they're not constantly leaving, they're not constantly going from here to there. Once they find their owner, once they bond with you, they're just going to stay with you no matter what. They're just going to go wherever you go, be wherever you want to be. They don't want to be there. They're just happy being here. And they make you be happy being here. So I just found that very interesting. And a lot of people with animals will say the same thing. Having a pet is different. And, someone was asking if I feel that way at the zoo. I honestly don't go to the zoo a lot, but now I'm thinking, now that you mention it, I'm thinking maybe I should go to the zoo and I could do a vlog about it. I just don't see animals normally, especially in DC because it's kind of cold. I don't know, I don't see a lot of people with their dogs. Like when I was in LA, everybody had a dog and everybody was always walking outside with their dog, and it's just like everyone just, like all of my neighbors had dogs except for my family. We had a dog briefly, but the dog kept getting in fights with my little sister. Someone is asking, so do you know what makes you feel lonely or depressed? I think that the thing that makes me feel lonely or depressed is FOMO. The idea that I need to be somewhere else or that I need to be with somebody else. And it's like, I almost have a hard time making myself believe that I don't need to be around anything else or anybody else at this moment to be complete or to be whole. It seems that way, when I talk to my family, for instance. My family is right now, hey Priorgi, my family right now is actually in Israel. Right now it's actually Yom Kippur. It's crazy that I'm doing this live stream right now because I should be in a synagogue praying and fasting. I would feel so guilty if my family found out where I am right now, which is on this live stream. And I'm just constantly walking around feeling guilty, like I should be somewhere else, be doing something else, be with somebody else, be with somebody else or somebody. And like my family, they're in Israel right now, okay, visiting my siblings, and I should be there with them. And the reason I didn't go is because I can't. I can't be religious the whole time that I'm there because it's really hard for me. I feel even more isolated because it's like in my head and in my mind, I'm like this other person, and then I'm pretending to be this other very religious person when I'm with them. Okay, this live stream is gonna just be a half hour long. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. Just something came up and in the middle of the night, of course. Kidding. Mr. Cohn says, do you think mindfulness is a challenge for you? Yes, I think mindfulness is definitely a challenge for me. And it's something that I was doing up until I moved out of that old place, and I was doing every day. I was listening to these mindfulness tapes, recordings every day, and I was like, meditating every morning. And now I stretch every morning, but like, it's still not the same. So I think that's a big part of it. Practicing mindfulness and thinking that I need to be in a different place right now. And the internet makes it worse. But I don't need to be in a different place. I'm fine where I am. Nope, Italian professor is not back in town. There's no guy. Trust me. I wish there was a guy, just because, I don't know, I just feel like I don't want to be single all the time. But there isn't. And that's fine. That's fine. People don't have to be in a relationship all the time. In fact, I remember 2 years ago, I was dating this guy, and I was saying, why am I always single? I really, in my entire life, have only had one serious relationship where, we held hands and we called each other boyfriend, girlfriend. One relationship like that in my entire life. Okay? And so I was telling this guy that, and he said, that's a good thing. You don't need to be in a relationship all the time. What you need to be whole by yourself. And when you do meet that person who's amazing, they need to be better than you being by yourself. They need to be the right one. That's all you need. Alex says, so I can't bribe you to stay. I love you guys. JF is like, you got a harem of worshippers, right? You guys, don't bribe me. Someone is asking if I'm in Greenland. I'm fine if you bribe me, that's fine. But honestly, I think the point is, in Greenland there's actually nobody, but they were fine as far as I know. I mean, they really were a lot more fine before the internet became a bigger thing. I really think it has to do with the internet. They were fine before that, and they were, sorry. There's so many people watching on Periscope and Twitch, so I feel weird talking to the YouTubers, but because I'm always talking to the YouTube people, but yeah. I think that when you're living in a small place with a small group of people, that's all you need. That's all you need to be fine, and you have to know that's all that you need to be fine. But it's very hard to be fine when you are suddenly exposed to all these other places where there are a lot more people than where you are, and you're just constantly thinking I need to be there. I need to be in that place with those people. Right, I'm reading your hand. And then there's people like me, if you have darker skin, you should probably be in lighter areas. And I know that sounds cliche, but I was talking to my mom about it. She was saying how a lot of Middle Easterners have to take vitamin shots because there's certain vitamins that they're not getting from the places that they're living, which are like in colder, less sunny areas. So they need to be taking these vitamins, and it actually, she said, it helps with depression. So it could actually be a thing that being, you know, being darker, you might have, it might, I don't know, that you might need more sun in general. My goal, and I think everybody's goal, should be to accept that wherever you are, and this is, I got that literally, this is my friend texting me. When I asked my friend, and my friend texted me this whole answer of like, you know, how to just be content being alone. This is what all of our goals should be, is to really just understand that we don't need anything else or anybody else to be complete. We're just fine. Someone is saying that I have anxiety. Yes, I have anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety. But it's not so bad. It's not as bad as it used to be. Like, actually not nearly. I haven't had a panic attack in forever. I haven't had a panic attack in a long time. Maybe at this point it's probably been like a year and a half or more. Yeah, I haven't had a panic attack in a while, and my anxiety levels have been a lot lower. Things have been a lot better, but I still get anxious, and it's just as you get older, you just like learn ways to cope with it. Like, I know, depending on where I am, I know, you know, like I definitely need to do more stretches, mindfulness. I mean, I do stretches already. I need to do mindfulness. All right. Okay, sorry, I know this seems a little bit rushed, and I want to stay so badly, and I just want to stay. Can you all keep your thoughts for tomorrow? I really want to stay. I have to go, though. Don't make me feel bad. Don't be so nice, because I want to stay. But also, what I want to say is I'm having a vlog coming out tomorrow. I'm really excited for you guys to see it, and we're gonna have a live stream tomorrow night, normal live stream, so we'll be back. Love you guys, and like this video on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, and you know, you can heart in the other platforms, and see you guys tomorrow. All right, this time I'm actually gonna shut it off, because last night I didn't shut the live stream off, and it was like still going on, and I was like, you know, singing to myself and yawning, and it was on the whole time. And then I was like, and then I just happened to notice on my screen, like, people were still commenting, and I was like, why are people still able to comment on my YouTube channel? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's still on. This is so awkward. It was so embarrassing. I would have totally done this if I were by myself. I could have totally farted. I could have totally like drank this and be like, eh. This is Tucker Carlson, by the way. Yeah, there's so many embarrassing things I could have done. I could have like stripped. There's so many embarrassing things I could have done, but I'm so grateful I didn't do it. All right, see you all. Like Felix says, go outside in nature, go enjoy yourself, enjoy being by yourself, because there's so much joy in life. And then once you meet the right person to be with, but you don't really even need to, you're fine by yourself. You can't be fine with anybody else until you're fine by yourself. All right, see you all tomorrow night.